all the way. This is lecture 5, and if you've not, please feel free to go watch back the previous videos to definitely catch up on the chess journey. Okay, so how we do it is very simple. I teach you the game of chess. Usually I want you to have your chess board, but it's okay if you don't have a chess board. Okay, you can always follow me with the demo board right on your screen. Okay, so for today's class, okay, the last class with me, we've talked about the brief introduction to the game of chess. We've talked about openings. We've talked about some middle game tricks. We've talked about chess notations. But the last class happens to be middle game, okay? And now we're going into middle game a little bit more in depth, you know, not just the surface thing that I talked about in passing and all of that. So for today's one, we're going to talk about middle game, exploiting your opponent's weaknesses. So when you're talking about exploiting your opponent's weaknesses, that's what chess is about. Chess means you're trying to outsmart your opponent, okay? How do I do this? You're looking for possible ways to actually see the mistake your opponent has made, you know? What are the mistakes opponent makes? Most times when it comes to chess, your moves, you give your opponent the opportunity to get to win you. You make the mistake, and then your opponent gets to see the mistake, and then gets to capitalize on it. But here are definitely some few tips, some things you need to be scouting for while you're playing. So once you've done everything, you've developed, controlled the center, you've castled, okay? Then we get to the point of exploiting your opponent's weakness. This is the first thing you should look out for while you're playing the middle game. Okay, once you've castled, you've connected your two rooks, then look for possible tricks you can just play around, advantages you can come up with. Now, the white squared bishop is still inside the house, obviously. The rooks are not connected, but definitely he has castled. And yeah, he has a weakness, like he has already developed the king pawns, okay? And then for black, or for white rather, or red, depending on what you're seeing on your screen, your own chessboard might be a white against black, not red against black, but mine is red against black, right? So for this position, you can see the bishop is out, the two bishops are out, definitely. One is controlling this long diagonal. What else again? There is also an opening here, just in case of there's no evidence of back rank mating, just peradventure, because usually towards the end I'll explain what back rank mating is. So usually I'll tell you to always hatch after opening. So you can set up this board. I can give you a little time to set up the board, taking cognizance of a lot of things. The position of this knight is a weak knight, because ideally a knight should be at the center of the board, controlling more square, but this knight at this moment is controlling minimal squares, okay? Same with this one, and then same with this one too. Rank 6, rank 5 for the black, and then rank 1 to 4 for the red or white, depending. Looking at it, you can see that already the white pawn has already invaded the 5th rank. That is one of the ranks of black. And you can also find out that this black knight has also invaded the 4th rank, which is coming towards this place, okay? So when you're looking at it now, we're looking for the possible weak squares for black, okay? What are the possible weak squares for black? Squares, these are squares that are minimally protected, okay? What squares are minimally protected? So let's look at this. This bishop first is a weak piece because it's still inside the house. It's immobile. It's not immobile, it's mobile. It can work both posts, okay? An outpost is a square that nothing is actually is actually going to attack this square. That's an outpost, right? So imagine you take your red or white bishop, the knight on h4. Imagine taking it to this square. Okay, it's a very comfortable square. Nothing at this moment is attacking it. The best that can happen is for the king to come here to want to attack this. Okay, which is also making the king vulnerable too. Okay, so the first weak square we're going to be talking about for black is the g6 square, of which the knight on h4 can comfortably come and sit down here. Okay, so that's the first weak square we're talking about. Then let's look at the probability of a weak piece. This is a weak piece. This is a weak piece. I want to give you I want you to just pick. It's a weak piece because there's nothing controlling this. There's nothing protecting this piece. This knight, the knight on h4, there's nothing protecting this knight. And my ideology about this knight movement, I want to believe that it was made with the intention of bringing it to this square. That was why white must have moved it probably from here to this place so that he can come here. Okay? So, and at this point, nothing is controlling it. Just watch this ideology I want to give now. Imagine I push this pawn forward. Okay, so at this point, I'm putting this pawn, I'm creating an attack here. okay, on this pawn, and I'm also trying an attack with this. Okay, I hope you can see it. This was where it was. Okay, at this point, this is a weak piece because there's nothing protecting it, right? So imagine I do this, push the pawn forward, creating an immediate attack on this pawn, and then giving this out. Okay, so let's say peradventure, in the process of this, white could have said, okay, it's possible I'm seeing something that looks like this that can play out, and decides to want to do this. Okay, so if white can do this, white has already stopped. Even if you do this, I can capture. Even though when I capture, you're going to capture back with your bishop, but once I capture, I know that you cannot capture this because there's a pawn holding it. Okay? And so, usually when you're asking now, how do I know which piece to trade and which piece not to trade? Usually there's always a worth of pieces. I always will tell you, there's how you determine the chess pieces, how much it is, what should go and what should not go. So when you want to see it, the pawn is worth 1 naira, 1 point, 1 everything, okay? The knight is worth 3 pawns, 3 naira, $3, 3 whatever you want to use it. And then the bishop is worth 3.5. So it's believed that the bishop is slightly higher than a knight, even though some school of thought will always want to question that. Then for the rook is worth 5, and the queen is worth 9, okay? So usually when you have all of this, imagine you want to now capture this pawn, this knight with the queen, and then I capture the queen back with the pawn. That's going to be 3 naira for 6 naira, for 9 naira, which is not a very fair deal. Okay, so you can just re-listen to that again. I'll take a quick recap again for you, which is the pawn is worth 1 point, the knight is worth 3 points, bishop is worth 3.5, the rook is worth 5, and the queen is worth 9. Okay, so I think I'll be right back after the break. Just stay with me. I'll be back. Just recap the journey. See you guys. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with me. And we've been talking about some things you should look out for in the middle game of chess. Today, basically, we're talking about exploiting weaknesses, talking about the squares and the pieces. Okay, so we'll just give you a quick recap of all the, just going to go through all the pieces to see which is weak and which is protected, okay? A weak piece is the one that is not protected, of which we agreed that this is a weak piece. Okay, this is a weak piece because there's nothing protecting it as at this moment, okay? There's nothing protecting that, that's a weak piece. And then a weak square is a square that there's little or no piece that is controlling or trying to hold the square, of which we agree this is a weak square, okay, for black. Now, let's see for white. For white, this square, the B2 square is a weak square because there's nothing holding this square. Nothing, peradventure anything happens, and we have a sniper bishop that is hidden. Peradventure this diagonal gets opened, this piece will fall if you don't take time, okay? So it's a weak square. Okay, so let's look at all the pieces and see. For this rook at this point, I'm going to call this rook a weak rook for this position. Reason being that it's immobile, it's still at home, and it's not yet developed, and yeah, it's not even connected. So for this rook to be connected, you have to take out this bishop, and then try to bring the rook to this file C. So which makes this a little bit a weak piece, okay? This knight, I'm going to give this knight a weak knight. It's weak because it's at the edge of the board. Usually, I'll tell you control the center, develop your pieces towards the center. So if this knight happens to be here, it's going to be controlling 8 different squares. Whilst it's on this place, it's controlling 4 squares at the moment. So, which is not so good, okay? So the whole idea is to maximize the power of your pieces and develop as much as possible. Make them as active as possible, okay? Okay, so this is for this. Then for the bishop, we've talked about the bishop. It's slightly weak, not so weak, okay? Because it can't come here, it can come here, okay? And it can only come here. But even after coming here, it can still come here, it can't come here, it can't come here. Do you get it? So, but there are a lot of things that you can actually translate to make this bishop as active and strong as possible. Then next is the queen. The queen moves anywhere. At this point, the queen is staying in a good spot. It can come here if it wants to, which is trying to activate and then free the bishop so that the 2 rooks can be connected, which is not also a bad move. At this moment, it's not a bad move. Okay, but the disadvantage of coming here is, peradventure this knight comes here. You see this attack. Let's try it out. Okay, let's say it decides to come here. And then this knight comes here. You're seeing double attack already. Power of foresight, ability to see things ahead. Double attack. So naturally, this makes this square a very bad square for the queen. This square is a bad square for the queen because coming here, we give this knight an opportunity to come here and attack both the knight, both the queen and the rook. I hope you're still following with me. I think I want to be sure I've not left you behind anyway. But so this square is a bad square for the queen. Okay, because of this ninth flip. So because of that, we can decide to come here. Of which, if you're coming here, you've blocked the bishop too. So at this point, you're seeing that it's getting a little bit very, very tricky. So this square is not also a bad square. Okay, I think that's the safest square at this moment for black queen. I think that's the safest square for black queen to develop the queen. Okay, and then our bishop can also have a way to come out here, so you can connect your two rooks together. Okay. So we're just trying to translate everything that can actually happen. So at this point, this queen is not so much of a weak queen, but this square is a very bad square for the queen to move to in the next move. This rook is not a bad rook because I can have a threat of pushing this pawn to break this file open, okay, which is not a bad one at the moment, okay. And this bishop too is protected by the king. It's not actually there's nothing on the bad there's nothing at the moment on this file that will attack the bishop, okay, on the diagonal rather. And the best that can play for white is to move this bishop, the knight to that square, attacking the bishop, of which if it's done, the bishop can cancel, the white bishop can cancel to prevent this attack on the black bishop, okay. So this is for black. And for white, what possible playouts can white have? White can have a lot of playouts. This is not a good move. Don't think you want to attack this knight, and so doing you want to push this pawn. If you do this, this goes, and this allows double attack. Okay, double attack. It's called a fork. It's going to allow a fork for the two pieces, which is not so good for you. Okay, so because of that, it naturally makes this pawn push, f3 pawn push, a very, very bad move. Instead, you can decide to, you know, just something else. Let it go, maybe take your bishop back before you want to do this pawn push. Okay, that's option one. Or you can move your queen out first before the pawn push. So whatever plays out, you can always have the opportunity of capturing. So imagine you push your queen here. Even if it decides to capture with this, you can capture with your queen or capture with the pawn and then allow the rook to control the file. Of which the pawn capturing is not so good because it's going to give double pawns. It's going to make double pawns, okay? Let me play what I'm saying. Imagine white's next move is, my wife does this, and then black does this. Okay, I was saying this is a better move. Okay? Even though this is also a playable move. But the matter of this one is two pawns on the same file. It's also a pawn weakness. Okay? So with regards to that, okay, this is here. And where's this piece? This is here. Okay. I hope I got my board right. No, did not. This is here. This is here. Okay. Okay, so basically if you look at it, you'll find out that the main strength of what you do is actually foresight. That's the whole thing, ability to see multiple pieces ahead, multiple moves ahead, and all of that. Basically, it's a skill everyone should learn. And that's the basic application I want to talk about today, foresight. That's the whole thing that is playing out on the board, the ability to see multiple moves ahead, ability to see many things ahead. Okay, so what's foresight? I've defined it, ability to see things ahead, right? How do you develop foresight? How do you want to make use of foresight? So practically, it's just like you want to leave your house this morning and you need to go to work, but you don't know how to go about it. So the first trick is definitely you have your baths, take your bags, and then you're out of the house. You can imagine, okay, what are the possible things that can play out on the way to work? Okay, the car could get spoiled, definitely. They could be holed up. Okay, so by the time you have all these possible foresights anticipated in your head, imagine there's hold up. What do you do? If there's hold up, what particular location? Is there any shorter route or a longer route I have to pass that I won't be experiencing hold up? Okay, that's one. Next is, if there is any, okay, peradventure there's no hold up. Let's say the car gets spoiled. What's the second option? Am I going to be able to park the car on the roadside, take a vehicle and go to where I'm going to, or do I need to call the mechanic? So, and what could come up in the car basically? Is it I'm going to have a flat tire? Are my tires okay? Is it that my car is going to overheat? Did I check the radiator and all of that? So practically foresight is just your ability to see things ahead, okay? Once you can apply foresight in anything you're doing, you'll be more effective and more productive because nothing is going to come to you as a surprise. You're going to practically anticipate everything that can play out right in your life. Yes, is it possible that you anticipate so much and it doesn't come? It's possible, but it's better to expect the worst and then it doesn't come. You prepare for it, and it doesn't come, and then you're relaxed. Then you don't even expect, or you're not expecting, you're not preparing, and then it hits you, and then you're left in the trauma of, what am I going to do? I need to start making decisions really quick, and all of that, okay? So the skill for the day today is foresight, okay? Please feel free to send me DMs, send your questions on the comment section. Anything, just reach out if you have any question, and I'll be here to answer everything you have. I'm going to continue my class next week, and I'll be talking about something else, okay? Until then, please stay with me, keep enjoying chess and enjoy life, and please get a chessboard, okay? I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, see you guys.